My name is Joanne and I was born and raised in Palawan, a beautiful province in the Philippines. Think of Heidi. That's pretty much me growing up. That was until I was 4 years old and my dad packed my bags and we both left for the city. He brought me to a house of two strangers who I was told were his sisters. Then he told me he was going to buy a stick of cigarette from a store nearby. I watched him left by the window and waited for him to come back, but he didn't. We all have our own brokenness, and mine is rooted from this core memory. Through therapy, I learned that I have abandonment issues, which makes it hard for me to trust both God and people. This also affected my journey in walking with God, so even though someone shared the gospel to me at a random bar in my early 20s and I accepted Jesus as my Lord and Savior, I still struggled comprehending that God really loves me. I adopted a toxic mindset thinking I had to constantly perform well in ministry to keep God from leaving me, just like my dad did. And this led me to another traumatic event in my life, joining a Christian cult. I talked about this in different platforms, but in summary, I lived a life of seclusion, shut out from society for 3 full years. I left my home, my work, and emptied my savings account, all for this. I went through rituals against my beliefs, fearing God would disown me if I spoke up. But in my confusion during the pandemic, I picked up my Bible and consumed it voraciously. I must have read it so hungrily as I was desperately searching for answers that I fell in love with the story of the gospel as if I had just read it for the very first time. I eventually disconnected from this church cult and slowly regained control over my life. I reconnected to the church where I first got saved and recommitted my life to Christ. So here I am sharing my story to say that there is hope even in the darkest times. And if you resonate with my story and have experienced any form of abuse in your life, your story is far from over. There's always light at the end of the tunnel, just as I am beginning to see now.